All right, here we go. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Paul Britton. This is Real to Real Talk. I've got three movies coming at you. They are they have similarities and differences, and it's they're first right off the bat, they're three adult movies. If you decide you're going to sit down and watch one of these, don't bring the kids along. These are all for adults, okay? 100% just, good old fashioned, you know, uh, R-rated movies. And I don't know that necessarily that they're all R-rated, but even if they're PG-13, don't bring the kids. They're not going to be all that interested. Second, the other thing that I want to say about them excuse me. The other thing I want to say about them is that they're related. They're they're not all heist movies, but they have heist movie feels. They're not all they do all feature crimes. Okay, right off the bat. These are all crime movies, okay? One of them, Honey Don't, is a classic Coen brothers, although it's just Ethan Coen, not Joel and Ethan Coen, but a classic Coen brothers crime, neo noir, in the vein of the Big Lebowski type of thing. Uh, you know, Eenie Meanie, the streamer that I'm going to be talking about, is a straight up classic heist movie that ends up taking some twists and turns that are completely unexpected, and we'll talk about that. Intrigue, all three of these movies definitely have intrigue, and but the uh but the other movie we're going to be talking about, Relay, is just a straight up Relay is just a straight up corporate thriller, and it is really very much a thriller. And the last bit is twists, because the one thing that all three of these movies feature today is in the third act. It's just like um straight up just like, you know I did not see that coming. Like, I did not see the movie going there. I got to share something that Blair, friend of the show, mentioned, or asked, and it said, we're doing porn now. And I don't know if he knows what happened in Honey Don't, but I'm just gonna say, we'll start there. Okay, so Honey Don't comes at you from Ethan Coen and his wife. The two of them made Drive Away Dolls, which came out early last year, and his writing partner is his wife, Trisha Cook, who is famously outspokenly bi, and they famously have like an open relationship. So the sexual leanings of their movies are very open, like very, very modern, very like, hey, look, these people exist, deal with it. And that leads us to uh the two primary stars of the movie, Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza. Yeah. Okay. The other folks, two other folks that are worth mentioning in the movie. Chris Evans plays a sort of like a televangelist, but not on TV, like just like a borderline cult leader, and Charlie Day Margaret Qualley is playing a private investigator. Charlie Day is the local, like, sort of detective who is sort of Margaret Qualley's counterpoint within the police department. But in classic noir fashion, the police are far more incompetent than the private investigator. The police are always one step behind the private investigator, and they play off of each other. Right off the bat, I just need to mention this movie takes place in Bakersfield, okay? And the opening credits of this movie, like the opening credits play, like we'll be driving through like Bakersfield, and they'll pass by a store, and in the store window it will be starring Margaret Qualley, and then they'll pass by a gas station, and in the letters of the gas station it'll say, yeah, Aubrey Plaza, and then Chris Evans, but every single storefront and everything is just like, oh yeah, this is obviously the Central Valley of California, which Blair and I lived in together for uh a couple of years. And Blair asks, so Margaret Qualley is a brother Seamus? Yes, Margaret Qualley is a brother Seamus. And so automatically, I only mention that because I'm buying into the setting. I'm buying into the fact that this movie is taking place in the Central Valley of California. Another thing that I'm buying into is Ethan Coen. Okay, like I'm just automatically on board with Ethan Coen. And my expectations for Coen brother movies are never like, oh, this is going to be the best movie. It's always, this could be the best movie, or this could be an intriguing, interesting movie, or this could be just one of the most quick-witted, fast talking movies with really interesting characters that flash in and flash out, and a story that's borderline irrelevant to everything that's going on. Honey Don't is the latter of those three. Honey Don't just relies entirely on the line readings from Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Charlie Day, and to a lesser extent Chris Evans, because Chris Evans is sort of playing a bad guy here. And within Coen brother movies, there's usually one or two folks that are not, I'm going to say, in on the gag. Not that Chris Evans isn't in on the gag, because he plays his character just ridiculously over the top. And it's a lot of fun to just kind of see him, honestly, like just chew on scenes and just be absolutely, off the wall. But everybody that pops into this movie is just absolutely right in. And but the three characters that are, that drive the neo-noir of this movie are Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, and Charlie Day. And just anytime two of those characters are on the screen together at the same time, you just have to be paying attention, because what they say is just it's just coming at you a mile a minute, and all of it is interesting or funny. And this movie, this movie's caught. I've read a little bit of flack on this movie where oh well, it's poorly written. It's not poorly written. The dialogue is A+. The story is D+, C-. Okay, so yeah, but I rarely go into a Coen brothers movie like, God, I can't wait for this story. It's like, even Fargo, the story was kind of dumb, like, and that's one of their it's not as ridiculous, obviously, as the Big Lebowski story is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And that's just kind of what you get with the Coen brothers sometimes. And that's what you're getting here. And if you don't buy into that, and if that's not what you're coming in for, and you just need something from story, that you're going to have a hard time getting through this one. There's an elephant in this room. Okay. And so Margaret Qualley is a lesbian, and but she's she is just playing counter to lesbian stereotypes of, oh, what do lesbians do on their second date? They move in, or they go apartment hunting. So, it's a joke. It's a bad joke, whatever. But Aubrey Plaza plays an officer within the Bakersfield Police Department. So, we're introduced to her when Margaret Qualley is kind of in the police department trying to figure things out. And then, they definitely have a chemistry moment. Margaret Qualley, that evening, so things happen, and then we kick off, or we either end Act 1, kick off Act 2. We'll say end Act 1 with Margaret Qualley showing up to the cop bar, the local cop bar. Every small city has a bar where all the cops go. Sits down next to Aubrey Plaza, and they don't stay in the bar for very long, and their clothes do not stay on for very long. And I am just flat out here to fucking tell you that, yes, part of the reason why I love this movie is because there are three fantastic sex scenes between Aubrey Plaza and Margaret Qualley. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not saying that to be like, oh, this is why you got to go see the movie. I'm saying it because I am owning the fact that, yes, part of the reason why I love this movie is absolutely because it had some of just the most fascinating and humorous and interesting sex scenes I've ever seen in a movie, and hottest. I mean, just Aubrey Plaza, for fuck's sake, man. I don't know what to tell you, but I get the criticism of this movie, okay? Some people, could you say, oh, well, the characters are lightly developed? You don't. The part of this movie doesn't need super deep characters, and the character development that is there is spot on, fantastic, and is given to you quickly because that's the whole point of being neo-noir. And yes, they definitely fixed each other's cables for and don't be fatuous, Blair. So another problem. Oh, the plot. I've already touched on that. Yeah, okay, I get it. The plot is super light, and you could say, oh, well, that's bad writing. No, they didn't. Look, they probably got the idea of a few characters and were like, let's just put them in Bakersfield and have a weird thing happen, and then blah. And then you could say, well, the third act just, in a movie with light plot, the twist that they pull out in Act 3 doesn't work at all, or isn't earned, or so that part I'm going to give to you. I there is a twist at the end of this movie that didn't see coming. Don't know that I necessarily like it, but it's absolutely interesting. And I'm not sure if part of the reason why I didn't like it is because of my feelings towards the characters, or if I didn't like it just because this is not a movie where you add a plot twist. It's just imagine if The Big Lebowski had a plot twist. Imagine The Big Lebowski if instead of Donnie dying, so Donnie fakes his own death and then pops up with Bunny Lebowski and is like, yeah, you got me, dude. Her and I have been together the whole time. It's just that movie doesn't need that, and this movie didn't need the plot twist. It feels completely off base for what's going on in the movie, but then the thread that they do lay throughout the movie that feels unaddressed because of the twist that they make is again brought up at the very, very, very end of the movie. And it's like, fuck, now I want 20 more minutes. But because this movie's only a 90-minute movie, they weren't going to give us that final 10 minutes, and it didn't need it because it's, you're just kind of fuck, that's awesome. So here at Real to Real Talk, I'll come back for one more Big Lebowski quote from Blair. I'm just going to post it just so that he can say he got 3 Big Lebowski quotes up. I'm not even reading it. Oh, I don't want that still up there. Oh, hold on. comments. Now I gotta hide it. Okay, that was up for way too long. You didn't deserve that much airtime, Blair. All right. Here at Real to Real Talk, we do ratings. We do tacos instead of stars. And if we feel like something deserves a little extra sauce, instead of doing like a half a taco, or as a half a star, we'll do guac. We'll add guac. Okay. So, and why do we do that? Because nobody eats a half a fucking taco. Honey, don't. I've been tossing this around. I'm giving Honey Don't 4 tacos just because of how much I really fucking enjoyed my experience with this movie. But this is one of those where it's like you go, your childhood taco place where you go and you went as a child like 100 times, you move away, 10 years later, you go back and you don't realize that it's under new management. Management's changed 5 times over, and you go and order and you eat you get 4 tacos because you always had 4 tacos, and then the tacos just aren't quite as good. That's what this is. That's my way of acknowledging, this movie probably isn't a 4 taco movie, but I'm giving it 4 tacos anyway. Just because of I mean, I was literally laughing out loud throughout the movie. Throughout the movie, I was laughing out loud. It's just absolutely brilliantly written. Brilliant in the sense, smart. I was going to say smartly written, but that sounded stupid. But but it's really not. It's just a really intelligently written movie, and they got Bakersfield. All right. Next movie I'm doing is Relay. This is a movie that was released in theaters. It was a wide release, but also not wide in the sense that it had 2,500 screens, but probably 1,500 screens. And I knew nothing about this movie. This is the first time I've gone to a movie with knowing nothing, literally hearing nothing about it at all in a really long time. And I say that because I listen to I listen to a movie podcast. I go to so many movies. I see a bazillion trailers all the time. I get trailers on my Facebook feed all the time. And if it's something I haven't seen before, I'll click on it just to be like, oh, what is this? I knew nothing about this movie. This movie stars Lily James and Riz Ahmed. Ahmed. I'm an idiot. Lily James and Riz Ahmed. And it's a corporate thriller along the lines of a Michael Clayton type of thing, where Riz Ahmed is someone who does what is basically the opposite of whistleblowing, which means there's a person in the company who could be a whistleblower, decides they don't want to whistleblow, but also just want to be left alone and get out from under the weight of knowing what they know by just being paid off. And so Riz Ahmed Relay it plays does a lot of work in as a title. So first, all communications are made through messenger services in the sense that if the whistleblower, non-whistleblower needs to get in touch with him, he has to leave a message, and then he'll call back through a relay exchange service, which is used by hearing or vocally impaired people. And so you call the relay exchange if you're a hearing impaired person, you type in your things, and then the relay exchange person then reads exactly what they said. They're legal bound as long as they can't relay any information, or divulge any information, and it's called a relay service. So that's part of it. But relay also in the sense that the Riz Ahmed is providing a service that relays it's a double play on it. The title is doing double duty, and it's kind of like almost too smart for itself, especially for a movie that almost didn't even release any trailers. This movie, it's from the director of Hell or High Water. And so that was the reason why I was like, okay, look, I got to give this movie a chance, because Hell or High Water is honestly like one of the best heist movies, just straight up heist movies. Obviously the Ocean's movies are my favorite heist movies, but like those movies are funny and fun and stuff, like just straight up like bank robbery, heist. It's so fucking good. Hell or High Water is seriously like one of the best movies of the past 15 years, and it's ridiculous. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go see this in the theaters. I gotta give this a chance. I was apparently one of 20 people that saw it. It did not do well. Um, you know, neither Honey, like straight up, neither Honey Don't nor Relay beat Fantastic Four this weekend, and Fantastic Four only made like $3 million. And the number one movie was was K-pop Demon Hunters, which I reviewed earlier, which is a Netflix movie that's been available on Netflix for a month. So that tells you what this past weekend was about. So now you know what Relay is all about. And it really is just straightforward, corporate intrigue, corporate espionage, corporate thriller movie. And it just plays straightforward, and it hits every note that you would expect the movie to hit. And it just keeps trucking and trucking and going forward and going forward. And, Riz Ahmed is getting too close to this one. And, Lily James is, clearly, just in a tough spot. And, Riz Ahmed is haunted by past, by past clients that, we are introduced to Riz Ahmed via his prior job, and that prior job keeps poking its head in because the guy that he helped, in spite of the fact that they're disassociated at this point because he's already finished his transaction, keeps calling him and leaving him messages, and that plays throughout the movie is the string that like just reminds you of these are the difficulties of the of what Riz Ahmed is doing. And then the third act is going along, and then they throw in a twist, and it's like, holy shit, where did that come from? Unlike the twist in Honey Don't is 100% earned. I'm not saying anything about the twist, but I am saying that I highly look, Relay is going to be hitting VOD like next week, just based on how poorly it did in theaters. 100% worth your $20 to VOD it. And it deserves the $20 because it does a great job of being exactly what it is and doing doing what it does. Is it a fantastic? No, it's not a fantastic movie, but it is really good. It does a fantastic job of what it's trying to do. So when I rate this movie, realizing that I gave Honey Don't 4 tacos, I'm giving this one 3+ guac. And the 3+ guac is because it is much better. Not much better. It is clearly better than a 3 taco movie. It is clearly not a 4 taco movie. Because the first 2 acts are just so boop, 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 and then it hits the twist. It's like, fuck, that's cool. That I wasn't expecting that. I'll take it. The last movie I'm going to be doing is a straight to streamer Hulu. 20th Century Films is, every once in a while makes a movie that they just dump right to Hulu. This is the latest. This is a straight up heist movie. Where am I? I had these all lined up and I got lost. Okay. It is starring Samara Weaving plays a character named Edie. And the Meanie is one of the characters calls her, instead of Edie, calls her Eenie Meanie because her last name is Meanie. And Carl Glusman plays her ex-boyfriend John. We are introduced to Edie when she is 14. She's picking up her mom and dad from a bar. They're both drunk. And so she is driving them home. She gets pulled over by the cops. Her dad says, look, your mom has coke on her. if the cops come, they're going to pull her out. They're going to search her. You cannot be driving. You need to get us the fuck out of here. And then the screen like you hear a screech and the screen goes black, or the screen goes back and you hear a screech as you're hearing a screech. And fast forward 15 years and we see Edie now, as an adult, trying to be an adult, trying to be the better person, going to community school, college, clearly having been in and out of foster parents and just doing her best. This movie takes place in Cleveland. I'm not going to hold that against it. But also, we are introduced to her ex-boyfriend, who is just an absolute fucking loser, just a complete and total mess. And he drags her back to the local, not mob boss, but crime boss, just a guy who, if there's a crime going on, he's a good bet to be spearheading it. And that's played by Andy Garcia. And we find out quickly, basically at the end of Act 1, that Andy Garcia is the character that calls her Eenie Meanie, and she used to be a driver for him, and she was his best driver, but he let her get out of the life. But now her boyfriend fucked up and owes a whole lot of money. And there's one last heist that he definitely needs Eenie Meanie for. And so she's brought into it. And that's the movie. I mean, it really honestly is just a straight up honest heist movie. And, you're either going to like a heist movie or you're not. And I'm flat out here to tell you that this is a quality heist movie with, again, I mentioned it at the front of the movie, at the front of the show, with a twist ending. And the twist ending, this movie gets to the last 10 minutes. Okay. And everything is just good. It's a really good heist movie. I was in 100%. Fun. We get to the final ending, and there's one more, if you're doing choose your own adventure, this one's giving you 3 choices. Like, honestly, there's probably about 6 different directions where this movie could go. And at 6 different final destinations are going to go. And it's at an inflection point. Okay. It's at an inflection point. And you could go left or you could go right. And a character makes a decision and they end up going right. They really fucking should have just gone left. Character makes a decision, they go right. Fuck. So now you're limited in your choices at this point. And you're like, okay, well, now you got, like, this movie could go one of multiple different ways. And it takes a direction would not have been my choice. Just would not have been my choice, but is fascinating, the choice that it makes. And I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about the choice that it made. So to look at our 3 twists, because all 3 of these movies have the twist. It's really weird how these movies really are so similar. Eenie Meenie Honey Don't has a twist, and it's like, what the fuck? Why does this movie even have a twist? And okay, I mean, I guess, all right, that's interesting. Okay, but what? Why? Relay has a twist. And it's like, oh fuck, no, that makes sense, and fuck, and like, oh, that's really cool, and I like where this thing went. And then Eenie Meenie has a twist, and it's like, god damn it. And well, okay. Like, ultimately, you realize that the twist the movie makes was probably, once that inflection point, the decision is made for that inflection point, it's not an inflection point that can be undone. Once that inflection point happens, it's like, oh fuck, okay. And then you know, you're down a path, and the path that it takes at that inflection point is really interesting. That's all. That's what I will say. Eenie Meanie is also getting 3 tacos plus guac. Relay and Eenie Meanie, not 2 movies that are similar in a whole lot of ways. You know, Relay is dealing with people with money. Eenie Meanie is dealing with people that do not have any money. Relay is dealing with white collar fuck bullshit crime, and Eenie Meanie is dealing with just, you know, the low down dirtiest, scraping for crimes. So they but they're very similar in their presentation of a twist, and they're very similar in the fact that they're both getting 3 tacos plus guac. And if you ask me which one did I like, I don't know. I don't know which one I like more. I don't know what to tell you. Like, they're both good. I would these two movies would make these 2 movies would make a spectacular double feature. These 3 movies would make a spectacular triple feature. Like, I loved that I got to do these 3 movies on the same weekend, because I enjoyed all 3 of them. They all 3 had very similar uh things going on, and yeah, I don't know. It's, you know, somebody told me to pass off. I think they meant to say piss off. I think Sandra Horn was mad at my at my Eenie Meenie take. I I don't know why. I guess somebody hated Eenie Meenie. I look here at Real to Real Talk. Heist movies are getting 3 tacos. All right, you have to do something really fucked up and terrible, like be made by Kevin Hart, to get less than 3 tacos if you're a heist movie. All right, it's just the reality of the damn thing. I liked Eenie Meenie. I liked all 3 of these movies. And if somebody came in and said, "Look, these were my problems with this movie, and this is why I didn't like it," I get it. I get it. But me, I was in on all 3. Look, this is Real to Real Talk. I was your host, Paul. I don't even know what the hell's coming out this weekend, but I'll be back next week, because I am absolutely going to the movie theaters on a 3-day weekend. So have a good one, guys.